Hey there, wisdom holders. Dana here of Dana's Spirit Butterfly. Today, it's energy forecast time, and it is the first new moon. We're about to step into our first new moon for 2021. And as we've mentioned in the last few videos, we did decide, Spirit and I, that we wanted to bring a little bit more elemental magic through the sacred feminine through these videos to assist you to reconnect with the aspects of self that are hidden. Oh, my singing bowl wants to play. Excuse me. The aspects of self that really don't find a voice, but that are there and that have been possibly even ignored and may still be ignored by you, because the external world has expectations on you, and those expectations are old world masculine. And so the masculine, of course, is not the same as men, and we're not here to shame or blame anybody. That in itself is the out of whack masculine that believes that the sacred feminine doesn't exist or that it's just a fairy tale. We're here to open up the doors to the wisdom that is available to all of us so that we may step into the new reality. When we talk about the new reality, it's not some abstract idea that's disconnected from reality. It's what you're creating. It's what we are creating. And in order to create, we need to come from a place of connection. And genuinely, people who are in fight or flight or in stress or in survival strategy, they don't tend to do a lot of creative things. They don't believe in their own ability to create their life. And that's sad, but it's a reality that so many of us face. And as we head forwards into 2021, there will be more of this chaos. Of course, ironically, chaos is considered feminine. We understand that chaos is maybe a superficial, using the term chaos is maybe a superficial rendering of what it actually is, because there's intelligence behind it. And when you understand the nature of flow energy, you will understand that chaos in itself is basically just aspects of things that we may not understand and we may not have a place for yet. I know that, those of you who come to my circles, do my work, understand the way that I work. The more I step into this work, the less organized I appear to be. At least this is how it feels like to me, because of course, just like you possibly, I was raised in an environment where it was expected that I would be considered worthy if I had intelligence and if I worked in a way that was according to a timeline or a straightforward linear trajectory that was shown to me and expected from me. And so as I step more into my aspects that are intuitive and that keep me back into an actual state of balance, and it's definitely better there, notwithstanding the things that I now see that I was ignoring before, because I am there. There's a part of me that feels more chaotic, but ultimately I understand that, again, that's just the superficial rendering of what it is that I see when my mind processes sensory information. It wants to categorize things. It wants to put things in neat pockets because it wants to add it to a mapping system that's in my mind. But, and this is the quintessential heart-head argument. We expect that when I sit with my heart, that somehow it's just going to offer me a coherent thought, and sometimes it does, often it does, but the heart itself speaks in a different language. It's not always logical, right? And that's because the heart in itself is equally feminine and masculine. It offers us sometimes a straight line, and sometimes it offers us a curve or a cycle or a circle. And so anyway, Spirit is bringing me back to the reason why we started these new moon cycles. This is relevant for where we're at on the planet at the moment. More of us are experiencing this phenomena, and we'll continue to experience this phenomena, where the sacred wisdom that flows through us will not be direct. It won't be in a straight line, and it won't give us, all of the dots to the end trajectory. So many of us become inspired by life and start to dream of a better world, and then we lack the coherency to get the dots in alignment and to build the energy and to get the resources and to get the money and all these things to have this thing be born into life. And that's partially because when we start to realize how balance truly works, we realize that there's kind of a meeting point between the external and the internal world, between the masculine and the feminine. There's a meeting point. And it's that meeting point between inspiration and due diligence, between the chaos or the seeming chaos or the irrationality of the feminine and the logic and the straightforward ways of working of the masculine. Again, we're not talking about men and women, and I need to declare this because it's no longer okay to shame a man who comes across as feminine and a woman who comes across as masculine. We are all working our way through how this dynamic works and how it works for me and how it can be healthy. But these two sides, also the moon cycle and the sun cycle, bringing those two together and understanding that one might be in a straight line and one might be in a spiral, it's really important. You know, we often recognize the days, we recognize a calendar, we recognize the seasons even, without realizing that the seasons themselves are cyclic. You know, our whole year is cyclic. And so then we deny the shedding. You know, particularly Spirit more and more is asking me to declare myself and those parts of me that are in resistance, or those parts of me that are in constriction, or some of you might feel the constriction as a blockage or a sensation of close, or, you know, like my heart, sometimes I tune into my heart and she just does not want to open because there's something going on with her. And at the moment, my mind, which is trying to rationalize what's going on with my heart, can't make sense of what the hell my heart wants from me. And again, this is just what Spirit is saying. There's this energy flow at the moment that's asking us to question the straight lines, asking us to question the obvious, because the sacred feminine is rising. And as she rises, our straight lines and indeed our circles all need to evolve and change. And so anyway, some of this could be a lesson for another day indeed. You guys know I run circles, I run groups, channeling classes now on Wednesdays. I also have the In-Spired Life program that is designed to assist you to get across some of these energetics. These energetics, they impact you whether you believe in them or not. They do, because they impact people, because they impact the planet that we live on, because they impact the animals and the trees and the plants and the weather, and the earth. I don't know if you guys noticed, but you know, on the 21st to the 12th, when the spiritualists all got together and prayed to the Earth Mother and sent love to the earth and through to Uluru, to the rock, there was a significant shift in the energetics of the planet. There were a couple of volcanoes that exploded quite significantly. I know one was in New Zealand and one was in, I think, possibly Maui. I think someone said there was one in Maui. I didn't personally check it, but I didn't need to. Spirit didn't direct me there because I already heard about it, and I knew that was true. But you're welcome to research that. You know, like Spirit was saying before, you know, it's part inspiration and part due diligence. We need the two together now. You can't just go on inspiration and not do some level of research. We are here to be balanced human beings, and that involves us acknowledging the human condition as much as the spirit itself. So anyway, all humans that got together and gathered on solstice in order to gather and to pray and to be in present awareness of the love that we have for this planet, that went somewhere. The Schumann resonance significantly spiked on that day. If you don't know what the Schumann resonance is, it's it's the space between the ionosphere and the Earth. So there's a space in between where pressure, they checked the pressure, and the pressure significantly changed. Anyway, suffice to say, this is not my specialty, but I'm aware enough of it to be able to talk a little bit about it. You can research it if you like the Schumann resonance. I'll make some posts down in the YouTube channel so that you can do some research around that if that's your bent. I research other things because they are my specialty. So anyway, suffice to say, Spirit is saying that where we've come from is an increasing amount of chaos, an increasing amount of uncertainty, an increasing amount of shadow appearing, which is exciting for us light workers who understand. And you know, light worker is maybe not the best word anymore for what we are. Energy sensitives I personally prefer, because we're attuned, you know, we're attuned to the sense, we're sensitive to the vibrational shifts that happen in the energetic aspects of us and the subtle fields. And there's been a lot of shifts lately. The collective has been uncomfortable and unsteady and uncertain and feeling lacking, a lot of lack. The economy, of course, is shifting and changing for obvious reasons. I feel Spirit says I don't need to go there. You already know what's happening in your capital city. But there are some phenomena to watch out for moving forwards. One of them is the increased in uncertainty means that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be in some shit that you can't understand, and they're going to lie about it. They're not going to declare it. You might confuse what's going on with them or the way that they speak to you as being about you. And I need you to take some deep breaths and recognize that you're a part of the world, but your presence here in itself is a part to witness others and to not necessarily fix their problems, but also certainly not to take them on. We don't take on other people's problems because other people are resourced to take on their own problems, except of course where they need assistance, in which case if they ask, then if you're available, you make yourself available. You don't go pushing your higher than mighty attitude out there and push all of your light and love out there. I can tell you now that if I were to lock you away in a box, not that I'm going to do that, Vipassana, you guys have heard of Vipassana, right? If I were to enforce you to do a Vipassana for 10, 15, 20 days or what have you, the spirit oneness will find things for you to work on. But sometimes when we have other people around, they act as distractions for your own process. And the truth is that in the balanced reality, where we understand the chaos and the rationality, and we understand how the two energies together make a third reality, and that third reality is actually where we're evolving to. Without our ability to see the polarities in the world, we can't evolve. We can't go on to the next layer of ascension, if you like that word. Ascension is possible, it's probable for you, but it comes with some suffering, because at some point in your life you would have cut or disconnected off from your suffering. And it's funny, they're reminding me that I was watching Teal Swan. Those of you who know Teal Swan, I was watching one of her videos, and she was saying about how childhood is a prison, and any person who doesn't recognize that childhood is a prison is denying what childhood was like for all of us. And the reason why is because, of course, part of childhood is you want to do things and someone says no. And how did that feel for you? Some kids, they just shrug it off and they're like, okay, I'll go on to the next thing. And others, tantrum central, cannot manage my energy, cannot regulate myself. That person said no, I wanted to do it. That person said no, and now I can't think of anything. Hands up the Scorpios. My dad's a Scorpio. I love Scorpios. Yeah, all right, I got a little bit off track, but anyway, suffice to say, it's really important you understand this concept that we all have this experience of suffering. We all have this experience of resistance or restriction or constriction. And what often happens is that as we become adults, we're pushed a little bit to deny or to just move on despite the constriction and the restriction. And as we move forwards, as we step more into this high vibration, and I don't think anybody's in denial of the higher vibration except those who are disconnected from true source, which I have met those people who are still really wanting to rationalize everything and really wanting to come back to the scientific method. And, each journey is that person's own. There's always some spiritual intelligence driving that for them. So we respect them, give them space to breathe and let them go about their business, But it's really important for you, if you're recognizing that you're here to be at one with the planet and here to support the movement to awaken the planet to a more balanced reality for the planet as well as for people, which is of course where health lies, right? I mean, if you haven't noticed that, health and wellness is one of the biggest industries, it is the biggest industry, Spirit is telling me, in the world. If that doesn't talk about the inherent value in balance, and that we're heading towards this idea of balance, which balance is typically health, right? Everybody craves it. That's why there's so much money in it. Everybody wants balance. Everybody wants the trajectory that says, I'm okay, I feel okay, I have my health. So anyway, moving forwards, there's going to be a lot of people who are in denial of this reality, and in order for them to heal, because they're all asking to be healed, and because of the light grids on the planet, because of the higher vibration that's being offered all of us, in order to embody the higher vibration and indeed what health means for us in the new reality, we need to let go of some shit. And the thing is that with some of that shit, we don't see it until it is yelling and screaming at us in the face. And this is what catharsis is, and this is what the restriction is, and this is, interestingly enough, what suffering is the irony. When I'm in a moment of suffering, I have two choices. I can either go further into suffering and deeper into suffering, and sometimes the soul goes there. Sometimes your soul is going to go there because you may have a calling to heal people there, or maybe you're there to understand why your father took his own life. Like, who knows? I'm sorry if that was, gosh, that might have hit home for someone. I'm sorry that just came out. I'm sorry if you lost your father, because that's shit. Nobody should have that experience, but those types of things are scarring, lifelong scarring. Just like for anybody, losing a mother, losing a sister or a brother, losing anybody is actually scarring. It's just ironic that, you know, now spirit is more and more asking me to look at things like grief cycles and look at how we heal through this element of grief. It's this idea that we're all grieving on some level. It's the cyclic nature of life. It's the elemental magic, you know, the earth, air, fire, wind, earth, air, fire, water, and the spirit that flows through all of us. So learning about those types of magics can really help to ease the ride. And this is the material point. So anyway, spirit is directing me to the paper, the stuff that I wrote down. So new moon on the 13th. I think it's on the 13th. 12th or 13th, depending on where you are, of January, heading into the full moon on the 29th, the 28th, 29th of January. It's not going to be a smooth ride. It's a new moon in Capricorn, and as Spirit was explaining to me before, the challenge with Capricorn energy is that it is perceived as being without emotion. And those of us who understand spirit work, you need to be able to connecting with spirit through love or through energy and motion, which is what emotion is. And where I'm there, I get a good connection. And where I can't connect in with my sense of self, which has feeling attached to it, then often I'm disconnected. That's kind of the end of it. So the Capricorn energy offers us this opportunity to see ourselves and how we disconnect from love, how we disconnect from our feelings. In order to survive, in order to just move on with things. And of course, it's the beginning of the new year, so of course we all want to move on to things. All of us have some expectation that 2020 is over and 2021 is going to be new, but there's always something that carries over, because the thing is, these are constructs, and ultimately they're masculine constructs, not men constructs, or masculine constructs. And the feminine way is the omnipresent way that acknowledges that everything is always in the now moment, and we all have everything that's available to us right now. So anyway, you'll find that you'll get frustrated across January and the lead up to the full moon, because a lot of people are going to be in denial of their feelings, or denial of the self, or unaware of the self, either because they've disconnected from the prison that is childhood, or they just haven't learnt to love themselves enough to be able to be present with themselves when they're feeling restriction, constriction, anger, sadness, all of those denser frequencies. And any person who's on this video at the moment who believes that any of that stuff is bad, can you please get off my video? Because if you haven't learnt that already, that's suffering for you. I don't want you to suffer. Please don't suffer. Being sad, being angry, being frustrated, the feelings themselves are okay. They're telling you about yourself. The feelings are fine. It's what is attached to them that needs attention. And so Spirit is saying that if you want some advice across the next moon cycle, it's understanding the power of witnessing others without diving into their bullshit. And when we talk about witnessing, you have to be able to suspend judgment when you witness someone. You have to be able to sit there and listen to whatever it is that they have to say, take in what you can, understand what it is that you can, and just acknowledge and just say, hey, I hear you. I see you, I hear you. If it's true for you, of course. If you're not seeing them and you're not hearing them, please don't say that, because that's inauthentic. And that's just contributing to greater suffering in the planet. So please be real, show up to witnessing, understand the power of a witness. In teaching people to heal, the first thing that we need to do when we heal energy that's disparate in the body is, firstly, you need to see it. And usually the joke that I have with my clients is that I usually go, oh, hey knee, or hey shoulder, or hey head, or hey third eye, Dana here, I see you. I'm here to listen to you. What would you like to say? What do you need someone to listen to? And then I witness, I listen. I don't judge. I don't try to fix it, ironically. I just stay there and I hold space for it. And what happens almost spontaneously is that 95% of the time the healing occurs anyway. But first you have to acknowledge and witness. And so that's what this is going to be about. Witness people. If you notice that they're suffering, then you can draw out the suffering if you want by asking a really well targeted question. How are you doing with that? And then again, don't listen. Listen. Don't try to fix. If you don't want to listen, if you can't listen, then don't ask the question. Again, because otherwise it's inauthentic. So just stay present with you. If all else fails, stay present with you. Witness yourself. Draw attention to yourself. For yourself. Be present with you, because moving forwards it's going to be tough for a lot of people, and a lot of people their stress response is to ignore it or to deny it or to pretend like everything's okay, and under those surface layers is probably someone who just doesn't have the tools to process what is going on. That is why I am here. This is why us spirit sensitive wisdom keepers are here. We're here to provide you with tools to help process that which shows up, so that you can feel supported, connected and held as you transverse your inner landscape, which of course is reflected in the outer landscape, and can be free to be me, free to be you. So please make peace with what's coming. I guarantee you it's going to be a bit tough for others. Spirit is reminding me that sometimes one of the best tools that anybody can employ is find a sacred space for you, whatever that means. Sacred space could be anything. For me, I always build an altar. Even when I was traveling before, I would always have one space where I would make that a sacred space. I would always have a candle of some sort and then things that I would love on that space. And so anytime things would feel out of balance, I would pull myself there and sit my butt down and go, okay, I'm just going to stay here and be present and hold this space for me. And finding out where that space is for you goes a long way, because it's the sacred feminine way, and space is actually where you are. Between your appointments is actually where you are. Between those conversations that trigger you is actually where you are. You are in the spaces in between, and if you're not making space to hold yourself accountable to the experience of feeling, then you're a part of the problem. And so with that, I'm going to sign this video off, guys, with kisses. Of course, Spirit has just reminded me, of course, the offerings that we have this month for us is at the end of January. We have the collective past life regression. Please join us. It's really great. I love them. I feel quite inspired. In fact, last time I held a regression session, Dolores Cannon came through and supported me through the work, and it was really, really powerful. I was really blown away by that. It was unexpected and weird. But also, hey, spiritual intelligence, how this works. Sometimes it's just weird and you flow with it, right? Because that's the elemental way. The other thing is, of course, our channeling class on Wednesdays restarts this week. So if you are around and you want to learn about spirits, about your tools, about communication, it's where the bomb is, guys. It's where you really do step into that aspect of you that's the sacred feminine. Because it's only there where you can Spirit is saying we will have a conversation another day about how sacred masculine energy connects with spirit, but for the moment, to activate the sacred feminine wisdom, we have to go through the intuition, and that's in the subtle fields. And the subtle fields, it's easier to develop them when you're in commune with spirit, and commune talks about having something to talk to. So join us. That's what Wednesday classes are about. And we're also moving, Spirit has been saying, and some of you who are in the business will understand, to move as many of you as possible to my mailing list. And I know so many of you don't like emails. I don't mail people very often. In fact, I probably average about 1 or 2 emails a month. So I don't email you a lot, but I do feel it's important that if you want to stay connected in with this work or with me, that the mailing list is the anchoring point for that, because at the moment there's, or Spirit is saying I don't need to go into this in this particular video. So we are offering specials now every week for our services through the mailing list, and so in order to be able to receive those specials, i.e. we're talking about money, if you want a cheaper session, if you want to spend less money in spiritual practice, it's okay for you to want that, but we'll provide that through the mailing list, because we're looking to get more flow through mailing systems to be able to empower the business, to be able to empower the business of spirituality, because again, I'm getting told not to go into that, so you can have a private conversation with me about that at some point if you'd like. There's a butterfly out in the window. So anyway, Spirit's with me, Spirit's with you guys. Peace be with you. If you need some support, you know where I am. Otherwise, some links will be in the YouTube video below. And thank you for still staying on board, my crew. Have a great start to your year, guys. All right. See you. Bye.